Hello everyone, this is Jebro, and this is going to be my Mesmer Stunner build, kind of Mark II really, because I used the staff before, but now I've gone for the Greatsword with the main hand sword and then the offhand pistol. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go through the traits actually, because that's going to be able to help me explain some of the sigils and abilities later on. So what we're going to go for is, the first line, which is going to be Domination, of course. So, illusion of vulnerability. So, you inflict vulnerability when you interrupt a foe. This build is called the Stunner. When you stun, you obviously interrupt, and also the interrupts are pretty nice in this build. So, that free stack is quite important, quite nice as well. Halting strikes, so deal damage when you interrupt. This is very nice against anything which is kind of squishy as well. Thieves, guardians. Also, you can do some nice damage to engineers and also to warriors. To anyone that you can interrupt, if you can you can see that animation especially, you can get a nice interrupt and you can actually do some nice damage. Especially if someone's going for it down and they're quite low on HP as well themselves, you can interrupt that and actually do a lot of damage, possibly putting them into the down state. So it's very nice ability there. Dazing, so dazing a foe also applies vulnerability. Of course, you have the daze over on the diversion shatter, which is very nice, and you also have different traits that are going to help you, different abilities which are going to help you to daze as well, with an example being magic bullet. So the second shot is going to be a second hit, is going to be that daze, of course, as well. Let's go on to the next trait, which is going to be shattered concentration. That's kind of normally used in kind of DPS Mesmer builds anyway, because you're going to remove a boon on hit, which is very important. Then we're going to go to Wastrel's punishment, which is the increased damage to foes who are not using a skill. So that initial engagement is quite nice. If you can come up on your opponent with some nice surprise, then you get that 5% increased damage. And then confounding suggestions, so a chance to inflict stun whenever you daze a target. So when you're using that shatter, you can possibly get a stun as well. Also from that bullet as well, you can get that nice daze. And I mean, this is, I just love this build because of this trait in combination with that halting strike. It is so nice. Now the chance is 50%. Of course, it's not always going to happen. But it is worth it, because if you can get the stun as well, then they're going to be having quite a few problems there. Dueling. So first one's kind of obvious. Gain vigor when delivering a critical hit. Vigor's quite important, especially when you want to dodge and get that extra. Clone, which we're going to see in a second. Phantasms have fury, so normally, Phantasmal Duelist is kind of annoying, because it's quite static and just stands there firing, but it still can do some nice damage. But mainly Phantasmal Beserker is pretty nice. Sharper images, illusions inflict bleeding. Bleeding ticks are always nice. We're critting a lot anyway. Deceptive evasion. Now that's very important to create a clone at your current position when you dodge, of course, because you want more illusions to have, more clones to have, so you can actually get that shatter and those dazes off as well. So we're going to go over to Chaos next. Metaphysical rejuvenation, so you're going to gain that regeneration. Next one. Now this is something where you can choose different traits, to be honest. Debilitating dissipation is quite nice because you can get that extra weakness and vulnerability on your targets, which is always nice. You can get it on 5 targets as well. Now you can go for that, or you can go for the manipulation. So reduce recharge on manipulation skills, of course, is going to be that extra blink cooldown. But just because I've just got that, really I just kind of prefer to go for this, just for the extra kind of damage I can pull out of it as well. The extra weakness is just quite nice. You can really use this or that. It's really up to you, to be fair. Illusionary membrane, so that protection is also very, very nice when you gain regeneration. It's nice to have that extra bit of survivability, of course. And then bountiful interruptions. So when you're interrupting, which is going to be quite a lot, especially if you're doing, remember, knockback, that counts as an interrupt. So when you're not knocking people back, you can get an interrupt, so you can get some nice damage as well, of course, off the extra interrupt from that halting strike trait over there as well. So next, we're going to go into equipment. And we're going to go to, of course, the Greatsword first. And like I said, you have that illusionary wave, which is that nice knockback, of course, which comes out, which is essential for getting in nice extra damage as well. So if you've got like 5 targets and you're trying to knock someone back, you get some extra damage out of that ability, which is pretty nice. Of course, going with the Sigil of Fire and Air to get that extra proc and that extra, the extra damage is going to come out of that. The cooldowns are so low as well, so it's going to be really, really nice to keep that. Same as really the normal damage that you would get from the other DPS Mesmer build as well, the Shatter variant, sorry. Then we've got the sword. This is where the difference comes in. We've got the sword and the pistol. I've kind of explained why the pistol's kind of better to have along with that. The staff wasn't really giving us much damage and as many interrupts really as well, and also Blurred Frenzy is very good at giving you some extra damage as well as survival, and also the illusionary leap is quite good as well for extra couple of stacks of vulnerability, as well as sometimes it can actually help you get out of a problem as well, and also, you know, because you can use that second ability to actually teleport towards your enemy as well. Even if you want to just catch them up, you know, you're using that Blurred Frenzy, of course, and then getting the interrupts and using whatever combination you want to use, which I will show you in another video. And then we're going to go for, on the sword, first of all, we're going to go for Sigil of Energy. Hello, person there. And then we're going to go on the pistol for the Sigil of Paralyzation. So that's pretty good to have that extra 30% stun duration, of course, especially if we get the second shot off and that stuns from the daze on the trait. Then we're going to have an extra stun duration on 2 targets, if we get it. Okay, so Rune of the Mesmer. Extra 33% daze duration is always going to be very nice, of course, and you get the precision and power that you need to actually get the damage for the build. And then you've got Beserker's Amulet, of course, which is going to give you a little bit of extra health, but it's mainly all about the damage, of course, with Beserker. And then we are going for the elites. We're going to go for Polymorph Moa. Now you can really use this depending on what you want to actually go for. Moa is quite nice, of course, if you want to use that on something like a warrior or an Ellie to, you know, really take those targets down quickly, the more bunkery characters, I suppose, or if you can come up and surprise a DPS character who's quite essential for their team, potentially using it on that. I'm not sure I would use it personally, but also, you know, you could use something like the Mass Invis or even the Time Warp if you really wanted to. I wouldn't personally, but yeah, it's up to you. Portal, of course, is good for maneuverability around the map. Blink is a good get out of poo card, is what I'm going to say, to be polite. And then, of course, Mantra of Distraction is very important indeed for that daze. So if we go to the actual ability itself, wow, it's windy out there. The daze is great, of course, because that is also, you know, 2 more interrupts. So whenever you're dazing, you're interrupting. Just remember that. And also some extra damage as well. It's not really going to work on this target, unfortunately. You can see that, you know, that extra daze is pretty bloody nice. And the number of targets is 5, remember. So that is quite an essential part of this build. Really trying to make sure that you go into fights with this is kind of essential. So always channel it before you're going to enter a fight, and you'll be okay. Just make sure you have that. Also, you know, Ether Fist is just the go-to normal heal that we always use, and it's probably the best one for this build as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the build, to be honest. I'm going to actually show you some combos, hopefully in this video as well, because I'm going to edit it together with a little bit of footage here and there just to show you some examples. But other than that, thank you for watching. I'm going to try and get a gameplay video out as well. Make sure that you know, come back, give me some comments, like the video if you like it. Also talk about it, you know, what could improve this build. I'm starting to improve it all the time. I actually think as well that this build is going to go great with Chronomancer, because, you know, that alacrity is going to be really, really good. So it's like the kind of a bit like quickness, you know, you're going to get those you're going to get the faster cooldown, for your abilities, rather than the opposite end of the scale. Where chill slows down the cooldown of your abilities, the actual alacrity decreases the cooldown of your abilities. Sorry, it's not like quickness. So, you know, that's going to be awesome. I think Chronomancer is going to be in place of the Chaos Tree out of anything. Bountiful Interruption is still pretty nice, you know, because you do gain that might when you interrupt a foe, and then gaining another boon as well is also very nice. So guys, I'm going to leave it for now. hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If not, let me know as well. Also, let me know if there's anything else I could have explained a little bit better, because Mesmer still isn't really my main class at all. I don't pretend to know everything in the world about the class, but I think this is a great build and it's been working for me. I've not lost many games in ranked queue when I've been playing this build, but you know, there's always room for improvement. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you very soon.